Hey guys, welcome to Tweak Talk. Today what we thought we'd do is give you a little bit of our philosophy around nutrition, the things that we do on a regular basis, the things that we recommend, and sort of how we got to this point in time and space, I suppose, recommending the things that we do. So yeah, I thought that would be pretty relevant at this point in time, hey?
Definitely. There's been lots of questions about it throughout all our clients. We've just started a 4-week challenge, so I think this will come in really helpful for all of those guys and everyone out there just wanting to get a general idea on our philosophy with nutrition. And yeah, just how things sort of work. So
cool. So let's jump into that. Should say before we get started that we're in our Grit Fitness Training Centre today, not in the gym. So we were just having a conversation about the loudest possible cars going by. So
the natural light's great. It's just we've had like 4 trucks and 3 4-wheel drives go past. It's been like really loud.
So bear with us.
We're like, oh yeah, it'll be quiet around there, but
that's right.
Whatever.
We're working on the technology side of this, so we're it's a work in progress for sure. Okay, so when do you think you became aware of the importance of food, and why? Like,
very, very young. I was young.
Didn't you eat shit food like as a teenager?
I did.
But do you know it was shit food? Oh, true.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I had a really good understanding about it. I don't think, probably more in towards high school, I would say. Like when I started really hitting that sort of puberty age, I really noticed how different foods affected me. However, I still ate everything, but I would always much rather something wholesome. So like for my lunches, when I was young,
it was the weirdest lunches ever as a kid, eh?
I did, and I was really weird. And
so good.
I would have a salad for lunch at primary school and high school. So I'd have salad, cucumber, like leaves, cucumber, tomato, beetroot, a little bit of cheese, like goat's cheese. I loved goat's cheese. And I'd have like a cold meat like ham or salami. Like that's like not the most amazing, but back then for a kid, that's amazing. So I had ham, salami, chicken, or I'd have leftovers. So if we had like curry and rice, I'd have curry and rice. And I had like this esky thing that was separate to my school bag. And I probably looked like the biggest freak ever, but that's how I like to eat. That's how I did like to eat at school.
Because that's what you liked. Because that was the food that you liked, hey?
I loved it. I had a real taste for it, and I always have, like, even as a baby, Mum said I'd eat all my veggies. Like I was never a fussy eater, and you know I'd sit up with Dad on the rocks at the beach and smash 8 oysters. You know, like just as a baby. So like I was always into really fresh, healthy food. I would always prefer that over something that wasn't healthy. But don't get me wrong, like I loved, you know,
crap food too.
Fish and chips. I loved all my desserts. I loved going to the bakery once a week with Mum on a Friday afternoon. That was our treat. I'd get a custard tart. It was the best ever, or a cream bun. I loved that. But I think I really noticed that if I ate a lot of shit food, I didn't feel well. And that was because of my health too. I don't think I processed it like a normal kid would, you know, you just not think anything about it, but I really felt the effects of it at quite a young age, and my body just didn't process it as well as other kids' bodies did, so I would never really like veer towards it. I'd always be,
So when you're a teenager, you had more awareness, like towards the end of high school, do you think? You were so consciously trying to eat better, or how did that work?
I only ate the way I did because it made me feel good, and I had just such a deep understanding of my body, or not back then, I shouldn't say that, but I knew that foods affected me. It affected the way I functioned, how I remembered things, how I would learn, how I could focus. You know, if I overdid it on sugar, or you know, if we gone to Macca's or whatever, like, not that we ate a lot of McDonald's anyway, but every now and then, like, you'd have something and it'd just be like, oh, I don't feel very well. So, yeah. And I think certain things, like there was a few phases through school, I would get like random urinary tract infections and things like that. But back then, like you wouldn't connect the dots to your nutrition. But if I wooed back on the sugar, I was a fruit bat, so if I wooed back on the sugar, it would make it better. Like just little things that I would notice, and Mum would like recommend me to do, and I would notice that. So yeah, it was really interesting. But I don't think I got a full grasp on how nutrition affected me until I was out of school, but still really early, like probably that 18 to 20, I've really honed in on how things made me feel. I went completely gluten and dairy free, and have been ever since. So
okay, cool. So that was after school.
After school, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I had a similar...
I got unwell, like really quite unwell. Just
so
didn't
that was
feel like good at all. So yeah, that was like that sort of 18 to 19 to 20, and I really honed in on it. So
cool. All right. Well, let's go. We'll dig into that in a bit. Like, so from like my background was, I don't know, maybe a typical boy or maybe a typical kid. I wasn't interested in vegetables at all if I could avoid that. As a young kid, wasn't interested at all. So if I could eat hot chips for every meal of the day, that's what I would have been in for.
Hot chips,
yeah,
cheese and gravy.
Hot chips, no, not cheese and gravy.
That was one of our favourites.
Things, yeah. But so if I could do that, then I was, that would be me.
Yeah.
I think Mum was trying to put like lettuce on my ham sandwich when I was in grade 7. I was like, hang on a second, what's going on here? And then I probably got I got better as I got older. The soccer experience. Being a little bit more competitive with that, they were starting to recommend that you eat better. Again, when you look back at the information, it's really primitive. Uncle Toby's muesli bars. Have those. Like, it's not something I'd recommend to a client right now, but that's something that we thought was healthy, and that was
better than a Mars bar.
Yeah, correct. It's definitely better than a Mars bar. So that's we started doing that sort of thing, and I started to eat more veggies and that sort of thing. So around then, that was probably 13, 14, 15, 16, starting to look at food for performance, not.
Yeah.
But I didn't really consider it anything to do with health.
Yeah.
It was like, if I eat this, then I feel better when I'm playing, or I feel lighter when I'm exercising.
You'll have more energy.
Yeah, that's right. So it wasn't a health related thing at all.
Yeah.
It was purely performance based.
Yeah.
I started looking into food a little bit more, probably at a similar time to you. So when I got out of school, started working, and the thing that triggered me was protein supplements. So I started using whey protein, and it just was going straight through me. It was horrendous. Probably too much information, but 18, 19, 20, I started like really getting into weight training, getting into supplements, probably 18, 19, and whey protein was just horrendous. Yeah, I had really no idea about gluten and dairy.
Yeah.
So I was eating gluten and dairy. I had no idea how they affected me. I didn't know anything about inflammation. I didn't know anything about gut health. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the protein supplement was like, I've got to work something out here.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to dig into things a bit more. So with your, I suppose, becoming unwell, so that was, how old were you?
About 18.
18, okay. Yeah. So become unwell, and then you started to do some of your own homework while you were sick to try and work out if you could eat your way out of being unwell?
Yeah.
Was that the thought at the start or no?
It was just, I think, a holistic approach to trying to allow me to feel better, because I got to a point where I was like 3 months of just total fatigue, like really like crazy fatigue, and just not in a good place mentally.
Yeah.
But the fatigue was the big thing that would just absolutely kill me. So some days I physically could not get up.
Yep.
Like, it was just ridiculous. So I knew that something was going on. It had to do with something with my thyroid, number one. And then from there I did some research around seeing a few practitioners. So I went and seen a practitioner. I got my medication changed from a synthetic thyroid medication to a bioidentical one, which I've been on ever since. I get that from the USA. So that was really helpful in itself. But in order for that to work, I worked with a practitioner, and I got educated a lot from her. And I did a lot of my own research too. And I found that, you know, thyroid patients are very sensitive with gluten and dairy. And it made so much sense to me when I found that and got rid of it. I felt so much better. I had really, really severe cystic acne all through school as well. And it used to flare when I ate crap. So that was another, sorry, I probably should have told you that before, but that was another reason why I was quite onto it with my nutrition. And as soon as I took out gluten and dairy especially, and refined sugar, it started to clear. So as well as I've always been on supplements. I've had to be, because with my thyroid, I'm naturally in a deficiency state with a few things. So I've always been on supplements, but yeah, that was a key moment where everything sort of started to change, and from then on I've been just researching and learning more, and that sort of got me to where I am now. But we've always, like, just going back, like, we've always eaten really well. Like, Mum's always done, you know, she's cooked everything from scratch. Like, we still loved our pastas, and we loved our gluten and dairy foods. I loved my desserts, like, but everything was homemade. And yeah, I think I just, like, she had a lot to do with it, but I taught myself to be really mindful about things and what they did, especially having, like, you know, a thyroid, I can mask that. But acne.
Acne for a teenage girl, hey, it's like, hang on a second.
And
a teenage person.
It was crippling. It was painful in the fact that I had it all over my face and it looked horrendous. And it was physically painful because it was cystic acne. So it was like an infection on your skin, and it was horrid, absolutely horrid. But yeah.
Cool. I think when I sort of started digging into things a little bit further, was around the 18, 19, when I was having dramas with protein supplements. But I never put together anything from my diet that I was struggling with, because I used to eat pretty well. I come up training through a bodybuilding gym. So the idea of eating food that you cook yourself and pretty clean food was sort of, that was what was going on around the place. And like you growing up, 90% of the food that we ate, 95% of the food we ate was cooked at home. So that gets you, I think that gets you a long way there, even if the choices aren't great, or you didn't have the knowledge around food. If you're cooking all your food at home, man, you're a lot better off than someone eating takeout every meal. So that gets you a long way there. The other thing was, I started working with people, so this is probably like 19 into 20. I started training people, and I was monitoring what they were doing in training. So it was like, all right, you're training with me 3 days a week, we're doing this, you're doing this on the outside of training days, and since we started training 6 weeks ago, you put on 5 kilos.
So what's the variable?
I'm like, what is going on here?
What's going on?
And then it was like, oh, hang on a second, there might be a bit more to this nutrition thing, because what I don't know, a lot of people know, is that the nutrition component in personal training is not that big. So it's not like you come out being a nutritionist at all. You get very much the basics of basics, and they still teach, well, up till last year, I don't know if it's the same now, but it was still the food pyramid, which was 1920s design, 1970s sort of structure.
Flip that sucker now.
Throw most of it out. So it was mostly that. So I really didn't know a lot. So that's when I sort of started to learn for myself, reading as much as I could, and then I went and did course after course after course to try and find out if we could get a better handle on things. And that's when we started to implement things in training and our personal training, to say, all right, if you're going to train, these are the things that we want you to eat, this is why. And all of a sudden put training and nutrition together and you see results really quickly.
Yeah.
Really very significant.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing too, because I did my course, I started my PT course at 19, I think I was. Yeah, I think I was 19 when I started. And yeah, a lot of the food pyramid stuff and like that didn't make much sense to me, because what I was doing with my body, it was just like, yeah. So I guess I started really researching so hard on that when things like didn't add up.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I got to do some more research to try and get an answer here. And then yeah, from then on it was just like head in a book or on Google and the whole time.
Yeah, well that was my thing too, because it was like doing that course, you really didn't get much information around nutrition. And then you go to the gym.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was like foundational stuff. It wasn't.
Yeah. And then you go to the gym and you get like full-blown bro science, like, man, you got to eat 5 kilos of chicken breast a day. And I was like, well, what does that actually mean? And what is that actually doing? And no one could be like, oh, well, this is why you need that. Or, you know what I mean? It was like full-blown bro science, like, do this, and this is for the... I was like, that shit irritates me. Like, I like to know. It
irritates me too. I still hear it sometimes, and I'm like,
we do.
Oh.
Yeah, what the hell? So trying to find out the science behind things and how the body actually works and what it is that you need on a regular basis that you can actually use and work towards a result, I think is super important.
Yep.
And that's sustainable.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, like, we're still learning. Up until now, like, I'm still... I'm in the middle of a health science, Bachelor of Health Science degree. And, like, what I've learned with nutrition, especially my nutrition subjects, is just, like, a whole... Like, we're learning the science to a molecular level. So it's absolutely phenomenal how nutrition... I think I had a really big appreciation for nutrition before I started this course, and what it's done for me and how it's got me to certain stages and how it's got me through really hard times. But this has just put a whole new layer on that.
That's been one of the things I think throughout this whole process, is that when you look at nutrition, so Rylee and I both had a genuine interest in nutrition from when we started out, like being trainers, and then you pair that together with people exercising and the mental side of things, and look at a person wanting to achieve a goal sort of from from the outside rather than being the person that wants to achieve the goal. You look at it and like, holy shit, like you're eating this, you've got this health complaint, or you've got this issue, or you can't do this, and it's like you can start to see the circle starting to link in, and it's really hard to identify that if you're the person. But from the outside looking in, the amount of inflammation-related illness or obesity that we see on almost a daily basis, that you can almost lock straight in on nutrition almost immediately, and say, man, those 10 things that you do as a staple throughout your week are killing you, and you can't see it.
What you are right now.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, then all of a sudden, like, as a responsible trainer, you almost are obligated to know more about that, because it's like, that's so fucking serious, man.
It is. It is really, really serious. And I can't understand how you could turn a blind eye to it. Like, and I know, it's
in a professional sense, you mean?
In a professional sense. You can't move past it. Yeah. It's just,
it's full on. It's full on. So that's something, I think that's shaped the way that we do things. So if you do see us, if you do see us at a cafe, like just happened just then, Rylee and I bought a meal each and a side salad each. And someone walked past and said, oh man, you're really hungry. And it's like, well, yeah, but this is what we do, hey?
So we can ensure that like all our nutrient requirements are met. And like there was some aspects, for example, I got smashed avo. There was 2 pieces of gluten-free bread on that. That there was no way in hell that I could eat 2 pieces of gluten-free bread. I would just be like, so I scraped the avo off. I had like a little bit of bread because balance, whatever. Like I don't do bread very well at all. So like I'll have it as a bit of a treat every now and then, but I don't like it because I don't like it the way it makes me feel. So, you know, I can eat without bread.
Ever.
I don't like it. So yeah, I have it every now and then. So I had like a little bit of it. But then to replace that bread, like, you know, it looked like a big meal with the bread.
Yeah, and you get rid of it.
Got rid of the bread, and it's 2 eggs and like half an avocado. So like, you know, I got a side salad, chucked that on the plate, and there you go. Like, let's
100%. And then if we go somewhere, we've got our esky with us almost all the time. So we've got food with us wherever we go. And it seems, I'm sure it seems like, to people, it seems like overkill, hey? But it comes from the experience that we've had in seeing people on a regular basis that have these significant health complaints, health issues, or may not know that they have them coming. And it's dietary related, and it's like, holy man, like we like to eat out just as much as everyone else does. But we have
we like to feel good too.
Correct.
and be healthy.
And an emphasis on health and longevity that sort of outweighs the possible mouth pleasure for the period of time.
Hey. And convenience. You know, that's our convenience. So we'll have everything ready from the night before, or most of it, chuck it in the esky the next morning, and away you go. Like, we live a really busy lifestyle. So we have to, if you're wanting to eat well, you need to be prepared. You need to be, like, we're not people that meal prep for 2 weeks in advance. Never have been. I really enjoy cooking.
I did used to do that.
I've done it a few times, but I've never liked it. Like, I've never liked pulling meals out of the freezer, and
So maybe that's a good thing to touch on now. So,
however,
what do we do? Oh, sorry.
Okay. Let's do that.
So I was just going to say, like, what do we do that people can actually take away from this that they could implement for themselves? So, one of the things that we do for every single meal, well, usually it's the nighttime meal. Hey, we overcook. Always. So it's not like Rylee and I are going to have dinner. We'll have a chicken thigh each. And cook 2 chicken thighs.
And it's like 2 cups of steamed veggies and a salad, like a little side salad for each. Hell no.
We've never.
I do a salad in a salad bowl, like.
For the 2 of us.
Like that.
And then we'll do a tray or 2 of chicken thighs.
In the oven, and then I fill up like a big fry pan of like fresh veggies. I'll chop them all up. If we're running short on time, I'll just get frozen veggies, like cauliflower, broccoli, carrot, frozen peas, whatever. I just chuck everything in the pan, drizzle of macadamia oil, and away you go. And then like a tray of sweet potato in the oven, a tray of chicken or whatever protein we've got. And then that'll do us for dinner the next day, and then maybe a little bit left over at the end of it, depending on how big our day is. So if we're starting at 5:30 in the morning and not getting home till 7, you know, there's like, we like to eat every 2 to 4 hours. So that's about like 5 to 6
meals,
small portion meals throughout the day to sustain us. So, you know, by the time that's pretty much it all gone, eh?
100%.
But like normally we'll have like some chicken and stuff left over, which we'll eat, you know, throughout the week. So
I think that's an easy way for a lot of people to consider being prepared for their food, because you're going to cook dinner anyway. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're going to cook dinner for your family, why not cook a little more? So you've got something for the next day, so then you can do lunches. You've got some preparation. 'Cause like, one of the things that I find is if you're trying to cook during the day, it's just a disaster. You're trying to cook before work or at lunchtime, or...
And it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, I'm a picker. So I like pick at things and I'm like, oh my God, like, and then by the time I don't know, it's just annoying. So it's good to have everything like done. And like on our weekends, you know, we're really busy throughout our whole week. And the last thing, especially at the moment, like we're working 7 days a week, like there's that portion of the weekend that we get. I don't want to be in the kitchen for 2 hours.
Whole day, no way.
You know, I love to cook and I really do love it. It's something that I'm very passionate about, but there is no way now that I want that extra 5 hours that we get on a Sunday. I don't want 3 hours or 2 hours of that in the kitchen. So, and I know, I'm sure many of you don't either, you know, especially if you've got like a young family and, you know, the kids have got sports on and stuff, like it's
Or you'd like to do something other than cook on
if you want to go for a drive somewhere or go away for the weekend, like it's, you've got to live a little bit. So, yeah, that's sort of what we've found to be really helpful. But again, everyone is so different. So, if, you know, if meal prep is something that suits you, then go for it. That's awesome.
100%. The key is being prepared so you've got that food. I think also, so one of the ways that we do that is cooking in advance. I think
because if it's there, you're going to eat it.
Correct.
You know you have to eat it, otherwise it's going to go to waste. So, you know, you're going to eat that rather than reaching for something that's unhealthy, because you know what that food is, like the mental aspect, you know what that food's going to do for your body. It's going to nourish you. It's got all the good stuff in it. It's got protein, carbs, fats, everything that you need is in that meal. Of course you're going to eat it. So,
well, in saying that, you just said that if it's there, you're going to eat it. So that's one of the things that we also don't do. We don't buy shit food and have it in the fridge or the cupboard, because if it's in your house, I don't care who you are,
you're going to eat it.
You're going to eat it. Now, if you've got kids, it's a little bit more difficult, requires a little bit more thought, because kids might be prone to eating some dodgy bits and pieces here and there. We got some interesting ideas around that too, though. Maybe that's
and you know what? Podcast. If there's something that you really love, then, you know, balance. Like, you got to enjoy your life. Like, you know, we're all about that. But there's definitely a healthy way to go around that.
100%. And what we're talking about here is, if you've got a thing for Tim Tams, buy a single Tim Tam. Don't buy a packet of Tim Tams.
Yes, I think you can get the single wrapped ones, like in a big bag now.
Or however you do it. But you want to avoid having that big thing of whatever.
And don't, the other thing that I find is really helpful is don't have them at eye level. Don't open the fridge and go, oh, there's a Tim Tam right in front of me
every time I open the fridge.
Screaming at me. So, you know, put them down in a crisper, you know, get them out of sight, and you know then that, you know, your healthy food's right there. I'm going to reach for my healthy food. And then maybe like for dessert or a treat, your weekly treat, or, you know, every couple of days you might, I'm going to treat myself and have, but like you have to find that balance. So,
all right, we'll get back onto balance in just a second and how we sort of negotiate those foods. Let's talk about, so through our day, there's some staples in the way that Rylee and I choose to eat. I think Rylee probably more so than me, but I think even for me, we could say the majority of the foods that we eat are vegetarian. The vast majority of the foods that we eat are vegetarian with a side of protein.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we'd say that we're good vegetarians except for the meat that we eat.
Pretty much.
Hey, so the vast majority of our plate's made up of salad or veggies. And then you've got protein, but with that meal. So I think it's super important for people to understand that with the small meals that we're having, the backbone of those meals is actually protein, because that's what helps keep you feeling full, keeps you sustained, does all those cool things, replenish hair cells, nail cells, helps with recovery, all that sort of good stuff. But the key is, I think it's really lean source of macronutrients, and it keeps you sustained throughout the day.
100%.
So if you can use that as your backbone and the sort of foundation of your diet, I think you're going a really long way towards being satisfied, being well fed, and being able to maintain a regular sort of sustainable diet. Hey.
Not only that, it's important to have that regular protein source throughout the day.
100%.
Because essentially your body is made up of protein and water, but protein is what holds us structurally together. And if you don't have enough in your system, your body's going to reach for where sources are in abundance, your muscles to be able to meet its protein requirement needs at that time. So we're constantly going through protein. It's one of the nutrients that we're churning through all the time. So it's really important that that regular fuel of protein throughout the day is met. So
100%. So
and that's what allows us to then feel satisfied, because you know, we're not like, oh my god, I'm so hungry, and reach for a shit food and it's not protein, and then the cycle starts. It's like fucking mess.
Correct, that's right. So, and it's small portions on a regular basis, as opposed to sitting down to a steak that hangs off the side of your plate at dinner time. It's small portions throughout the day. That does a heap of things, keeps you satisfied. It also gets you to the end of the day where you're not starving. So what we find with people is that by the time they get to dinner, their nutritional habits throughout the day have led them to a point where they're starving. They get to dinner, and at dinner you would walk through walls to eat shit on toast because you're just starving. So you eat whatever you've got, and then you eat dessert, then you're on the couch like a vegetable, and then you go to bed. Which is a snowball effect of not goodness around your nutrition. So the small meals throughout the day is super crucial, I think, and with a backbone of a small amount of protein in each one, I think gets you a long way there. Gets you a long way there. I think, and you can also do protein. If you're a vegan, it's hard work, but it can be done. If you're a vegetarian, a little easier than being a vegan. For the vegans that may watch this, you guys almost need a degree in nutrition.
To be a vegan, you need to know your shit.
To be a healthy vegan, I think.
Exactly. To meet your nutritional requirements, you need to know your stuff, and otherwise you need to work with someone
who does
that can get you to your requirements on a daily basis.
Make no mistake, if you want to be a vegan, it's easy because you can live on potato chips out of a packet.
Or the frozen section. But
to be a healthy, functioning, making sure you've got optimal levels of all vitamins and minerals.
With a healthy body composition, good hormone conversion, all that jazz, good neurotransmitter, you need to really hone in on how things work, what types of proteins and stuff, and how different types of proteins affect you. It's really important. So if you can really research that, know your stuff, and also work alongside a practitioner, you can definitely do it, no worries at all.
And there's a place for it for some people. Hey, it's not for everyone. Just the same as meat is not for red meat is not for everyone. So it's a place for
some body types
respond really well.
Respond beautifully to a vegan diet, or a really high carbohydrate diet,
or a super high fat diet.
So it's really amazing, and that's the biggest thing, is that, you know, there's no one size fits all. You have to have that in the back of your mind all the time. If something's not feeling right, if something's not working for you, if you're not seeing results, if you have a goal and you're not seeing results, something's got to change. Because
100%. Okay, cool. So I think what I wanted to touch on now, we spoke about don't buy or limit the temptations. I think it's important to understand, if you're trying to achieve a result, and for Rylee and I, it's not a result like I want to get into a size 8 pair of pants or 6 pair of pants or whatever it is. It's not so much that, it's healthy lifestyle, healthy living. So we choose to make the vast majority of the food that we eat really, really good.
But we really enjoy that.
100%, because we enjoy the benefits of it. So I think there's a lot of mindset related to that. So people, I think, come into, particularly if they're not conscious of the foods that they're eating at the moment, they're not in a state where they're looking after their bodies in terms of the nutrition, maybe they're not exercising on a regular basis. They come into it like, I'm going to go on a diet and it's going to be restrictive and everything's going to taste bland and like shit. Whereas the mindset that we've grown to understand is that the foods that we're choosing to eat actually nourish our body, make us feel really good, give us a lot of energy, and give us the ability to do the things that we want to do. So it's like, it's almost a no-brainer to eat those things.
The biggest thing is understanding that whole foods are made of the elements that essentially make up our body. So absorption-wise, it's straight in because our body recognizes it. Straight in,
Easy to process.
Easy to process, so there's low inflammation. And you reap the rewards from it. You have a healthy body composition because everything is working the way it should. Your body is recognizing it because it's natural. It naturally will pull towards that because that's what it's made of. Whereas if you're going for your processed, artificial, it's got all those man-made chemicals in processed foods that we have today, the body can't recognize it. So
we just weren't meant to eat it.
No, so of course it's going to, like your body will recognize it, the immune system will kick in. So this is where autoimmune system, all that sort of inflammatory disease and stuff kicks in because the immune system's upped up. It's like, what is this molecule? Never seen it before. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to store it away on the side of your artery and calcify it, or I'm going to put it in a fat cell where there's not much blood supply, so it can't get into the bloodstream. So it's gonna react in a way that isn't natural. It thinks that it's invading something. So
substance, which it is, because we don't understand what it is.
Exactly. So that's how I like to break it down to people. And the cool thing about Whole Foods is that you can get really creative. Like, we go without nothing. I love to cook sweets. Absolutely love it. And we follow a very paleo, you could probably say a real paleo-based sort of diet. So I pretty much mimic every sweet there is. From trifle to cheesecakes to any type of cakes, caramel slices. So I try to mimic everything that I really enjoyed, way back when, or that my whole family likes to enjoy. I try to really turn that into a healthier.
And with a little bit of effort, a little bit of what's the word? Research. You can have treats that really are not that bad for you. Would you make 90% of your diet caramel slice, paleo calorie slice? That's not a good idea.
No, but it hits the spot.
Holy, doesn't it?
And as well as it gives you all the amazing whole food nutrients that your body loves.
Actually made from real food. Tastes good. You can have your coffee and cake with friends and
really enjoy it and reap the benefits of it.
Correct. So you don't have to go without. Just take some prior planning and some thought and some acknowledgement. And maybe some acknowledgement and a little bit of respect for yourself. I think that's a big thing, because people are just like, oh, I'll just eat whatever. It's like, well... Well,
the other thing too is that you'll go out and have coffee and cake with your friends, and you'll have a piece of cheesecake or whatever, and then you'll come home and you'll beat yourself up for 2 days.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what the hell? There's no fun in that. You can sit there and have a really nice piece of coffee, have a really nice piece of cake and coffee with your friends, and know that that piece of cake is nourishing you, and you can walk away from that having had a really beautiful social experience with your friends, and knowing that, but so, on the flip side too, you have people that can, they eat really well 90% of the time, and they go out for that piece of cheesecake and coffee. Good for you. Freaking go for it.
100%. It's all about mindset and the way you set your week up.
Exactly.
I think we've jokingly said this before, I'll buy a 6-pack of cider because that's what I like, and I'll drink that 6-pack over
8 weeks.
8 weeks or something. But when I have that, so someone said to me, oh, cider's full of sugar. I'm like, I don't care. Like,
so what?
I'm not buying... I don't buy alcohol because I'm under the idea that it's good for me. That's not what I'm doing. But
and he's not having it every night.
Correct. So we sit on a Sunday or Saturday or whatever.
And we share it sometimes.
That's right. We'll share one cider.
But we really enjoy it.
Correct, because we don't get it on a regular basis. I'm not doing it because it's good for my nutritional health. I think it's a part of our mental health. It's good for our relationship because we sit and talk and shoot the shit or whatever. And we thoroughly enjoy it. And if you can get to a place where you're doing that with a coffee and cake, power to you. I think that's all part of it as well.
100%. But you've got to, there's a lot of work in getting to that point, I think, mentally. Some people struggle with it, some people don't. So I know, every single person is different in how they deal with that. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, so let's get on to some takeaways that people can use. Hopefully there's been a couple already. Now we are in Tully, and now it's going to be torrential rain and trucks going by, so it'll be a miracle if you guys can hear any of this. We've got to get ourselves sorted with the microphone and all that sort of jazz. Eh? But anyway, so one of the things that I like to put down is be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And with the people that you elect to help you, whether it's a coach, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, a naturopath, whatever it is, they know. They know. You know, I've had conversations with people that I can see are really unwell.
Yeah.
And they tell me
it's serious.
Correct.
Yeah. And we take it really seriously.
Correct.
So.
And it's a lot of work, I think, to get someone on the right track. And if the first food diary you get back is 5 meals of chicken and broccoli each day from someone that's chronically overweight
and chronically ill, like not well,
it generally indicates to me that that's probably not all that's going on. So I think being honest with yourself and the people that you work with is super, super important.
Obviously, thinking about that in reasonable terms. You know, if they've been working with you for 2 weeks and that's what they've done, you know, like you would expect a little bit of something to be happening. But you know, if the other thing, what I'm trying to say is like it's taken so long for them to get to this point. You know, they can't just do a week of really clean eating and expect a result.
Oh
like
yeah,
that. That's not what we meant.
Correct. That's a completely different mindset. Hey, so is it, if it's taken you 10 years to become overweight and unhealthy, you can't become healthy and on weight in 1 week or 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks or 6 months. It's going to take a period of time. But more so what I'm talking about is saying the things that are easier to say, that make you feel a little better, that sort of cushion the blow a little bit. And to say, hey, it's not actually me that's caused this. Something else is going on. I think you need to take control of the situation right from the start. Say, all right, look, this is what I'm doing. I don't eat breakfast. I have a hamburger with a Coke at lunch.
I have 6 coffees a day.
Lay it all out there. 100%. Lay it all out there, because the person that you're working with, first of all, they've got a good indication that your nutrition is not the way that you want it to be, or not the way that best serves you, because one, you've come to see them. And 2, you're presenting with a health concern generally that's nutrition related, whether it's overweight, whether it's some sort of inflammatory type condition, they're generally nutrition related. So lay it all out there so they can see it.
Because we're trained in this. We can identify so many things, and from there we can really get to know you and how you like to live your life, and really make a plan from there that suits you, so you're in control.
100%. I think
because you are in control. That's the thing, hey, is that a lot of people, like, they just don't even think about it. It's not something that they're mindful of, and then it's all of a sudden it's a loss of control. That's like where you get to in the end. It's a loss of control. But we are here to help you regain that control. And even if you're not working with someone, it's so important for you to know that you are in control. You have every single choice you make is yours. You know, that is your choice. So
100%. And getting back to really cutting down and acknowledging the things that you are consuming, because we're talking about nutrition right now. I think, I don't know if I've ever seen a food diary where we couldn't use something that they're already doing. Because one of the things that I hate is someone says, here's your meal plan. These are the foods you want to eat. I'm like, fuck, I've never eaten that in my life. I don't think that works. And don't get me wrong, I've done it.
It's just part of
part of learning and doing the things that I thought were right. But what we've found is that if you can provide the foods that you're eating, we can filter through that and say, all right, man, breakfast is really not working for you, but you're having breakfast, so that's a really good start.
Let's swap this.
Let's make a swap. 100%.
Like,
and we work our way.
Things.
Correct. Or you go to lunch and say, all right, you're already having salad. Now you're putting 4 liters of dressing on it, which doesn't help, but perhaps we can try this dressing. Or perhaps we can halve the amount of dressing that you're having right now and work up to a different approach.
Simplifying everything.
Correct, because I think we can make those changes with what you've got working, so there's less resistance to actually making the change, less resistance to getting the result, and less resistance to improving your health.
Yeah, and feeling deprived 100%. In any way, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think the second thing that people can take away and do right now is get rid of refined sugars.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like everyone's in control of that, and it's something that you can actually do right now.
Refined sugars, processed carbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
That, generally speaking, is shitty food.
Yep. It's in everything.
Yep.
So pretty much just everything that's in the middle of the supermarket, I like to say.
Yep. Comes in a packet, a can, a box. Generally speaking, will have some sort of refined sugar in it. Yep. If you jump into the ingredients section, so don't look at the table of contents, because that can be more tricky to read.
There are things without refined sugar in it that are packaged, but generally speaking, yeah, that's a general rule. So if you're looking at the table of, if you're looking in the ingredients section, if you find sugar in the top 3 or 4 ingredients, try and find a product that's better than that. If you find an ingredient in the top 3 or 4 ingredients that you can't read or don't understand, that's an indication that you shouldn't eat it. You know what chicken is, you know what broccoli is, you know what food is, and you can read food. But if you can't understand what the words are, if it's a number, you can do better than that particular item. Is that cool? Okay, remove soft drink and fast foods. If there is one thing that I am dead against, that is soft drink. It is a killer. It is a killer in a bottle, and I don't care what you say to me. But I will. It just on a regular basis. For me, anytime.
We don't do it.
Just can it. Literally, pun not intended. I've had a few clients that have really loved and enjoyed their soft drink.
What about diet? What about diet soft drink?
I've totally gotten rid of it, but I've replaced it with something. So I've replaced it with mineral water. And then we've got some really nice amino acids powders in the gym. They're flavored beautifully. Even our no whey ATP stock ATP Science, our no whey proteins, the fruity flavors are more of a juice consistency rather than a milky consistency. So we've got the pina colada and the strawberry, and there's a few other flavors. I think there's a banana one too. And I've just recommended some ice, some mineral water, and a scoop of that. You get that sweetness, you get the fizz, but there's not a truckload of sugar, preservatives, and caffeine hitting you like a ton of bricks. So,
if your approach to soft drink is my approach to cider, you have it on Saturday afternoon, maybe once a fortnight, then whatever, go for it, because you're doing that as part of a
enjoyment.
Correct, an enjoyment, a lifestyle type thing. That's a-okay. But if you're including soft drink in the day-to-day diet, that's a recipe for disaster.
Your liver is screaming at you.
There's nothing good in there. Hey, there's no nutritional benefit. It's a little bit of mouth pleasure. It's a spike in blood sugar levels.
But then the crash is more than the spike. So, and then that's when you crave it again.
100%.
So your blood sugar will literally do that. You'll crave it. It'll go up, but then it'll be sitting here first. It'll go up, but then it'll go way past where you started. And then that low is when you really are craving.
A hormonal response as well as a response to the fructose. 100%. Which causes you to crave more.
Which over time, that constant insulin disturbance throughout the day over a really long period of time, years, months, type 2 diabetes. Is where you end up.
Sugar-related.
Heart disease.
For sure.
Cool.
So, look, if you're consuming fast food on a regular basis, if you're consuming soft drink on a regular basis, what we would tell you to do is decrease on it. It's probably not the type of lifestyle that you have right now that you can turn that off straight away and know what to go into, because those habits are generally developed over time. So what we would encourage you to do is to take action and take something away from this right now.
Yeah.
Is to start cutting that back.
Yeah.
Hey, so if you're having 3 Cokes a day, go to 2 Cokes a day.
Yeah.
Cut it down. That's not like the most sound nutritional advice because you don't want to be consuming it, but we want to be doing things that you can sustain over a long term. We really have no desire to give you a recommendation like you have to cut all fast food, all soft drink immediately, and then you get to next week and you're like...
Not only that, you know, having foods like soft drinks and stuff, when you do, if you cut that, if you go cold turkey, you can become very unwell. So
depending on how much you're consuming,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, you can become really unwell. Sure. Headaches, you know, pain everywhere, joint pain. I mean, you'd probably have that already if you're consuming it on a regular basis, but your body will go into a major detox and it will make you feel unwell.
Yep.
They call it like a bit of a healing crisis, but tapering off is really important and a lot more sustainable for you, both physically and mentally. So.
Yep.
But yeah, we're pretty much out of time now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. But the last thing that I've got on my list, which is the thing that we've been drilling for years and years and years and years, and we will continue to do so, is just eat real food.
Just eat real food.
Just eat real food. So, Nutrigrain's not real food, man. No. Show me the Nutrigrain tree. Show me the animal that runs around producing Nutrigrain. That shit's not real food. I know they tell you that it's packed full of protein and lifesavers use it and it's for growing boys and makes you strong and all that stuff. And maybe it's got a place in someone's diet somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that shit's not real food, man.
Like that, you know, yeah.
That's just to name one. Not to pick on Nutrigrain. You know,
Cocoa Pops, Fruit Loops.
Whatever.
Special K, Uncle Toby's muesli bar.
Yeah,
like that's not a like yes, it's got
from
oats.
McDonald's.
Yeah, it's got oats in it, but you know, like it's not all oats, so it's not. Yeah.
Correct.
And you're always going to have little bits and pieces that aren't real. Like that's fine because that's the way we live and whatever. But 80 to 90% of your diet needs to mimic the elements that are in your body
of real food
in order to be
come from
healthy.
real food.
Yeah.
100%. If you take nothing away from what we've said today,
just rewind that and watch that again.
Yeah, just watch the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just eat real food. Something that was once living or once was growing that will get you 80% there, 90% of the way there, and prepare it yourself. You're a long way there. There's nuance that we can go in sort of all sorts of different directions. We can talk about.
We will. We'll go further into your macronutrients and your micronutrients.
And different styles of eating, like the vegan diet, which we spoke about, like the paleo
keto,
diet,
all that sort of stuff. We're definitely wanting to dive into that. So if you do, like if you have a certain way of eating, or you want to know more specifically about things, please comment below because we're going to hit these subjects over the next few weeks. So
100%. Subscribe here as well. You can do that just by doing the things below, and you'll be able to see what we've got coming up next. But I think that's all we've got time for. That's all we wanted to get through.
It's a big subject, so there's lots to talk about.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we wanted to keep things sort of surface level today, and then we'll narrow. We'll jump into these on individual topics. So if we go into paleo, we'll do just one
thing on paleo.
Video on paleo. So we're not talking about all of them because there's just too much to talk about. So hope you enjoyed that. That's it. Have a good day wherever you are. Just eat real food. Cut down on that shitty food. And if you're trying to get a great result, be honest. Dig into exactly what you're doing and get some help.
Because if you're not honest, you won't get the help that you need. And
this can be fixed. These changes can be made and you can get a great result.
100%. That's what we're here for.
Go forth.
Bye.
Be healthy. See you in the next one.